Hi, we are doing an experiment in television because we are here at Nora Seroussi's show interviewing Miss Nora Seroussi herself. Hello.
Hi, Alexandru.
How are you?
I'm fine. It's very funny to be sitting on this side.
So
I'm in the hot seat.
Hot spot, yes,
Yeah.
because now you would answer the questions and not putting them.
Okay, so I'm ready. Fire away.
Last time we did an interview here, you were coming from Oscar and you had quite an adventure there, but during the year you had a lot of adventures and a lot of projects, and I heard about a reality show, about a movie and some other projects that you are doing. Maybe you invented a way to copy yourself in several...
I wish. I need to be three of me sometimes. Okay, since the last time I was here, it has been mental. I calculated it's, I think, 8 months.
Yes.
Is it 8 months?
Yes.
It's not possible. I think what I've done is like 8 months. I feel like it could be 3 years. But it's the most incredible period really of my life. So after I was in LA and after I came back, and I mentioned, because I've had Edward Remy on the show with me a few times, we connected and we decided to do a reality show. I told you about that. Did I tell you about that?
A little.
Okay, so we are actually dream makers. What does that mean? That means we're taking people from different fields and trying to take them to the next level. Okay, which is not so easy.
So you are looking for talents?
Yes. They're actually coming to us. So he already had met some of the people, and when we went on our trips to meet the different people in different countries, I got to know some of our talents very well, and I've had a few of them on the show. I did the show with Sarah and with Emily and with Roxana and with Francesca. And we were discussing about the different, whether it's being an actor or being a singer. And I'm trying to introduce them to the world of television. Some of them are already familiar with it. So we actually started first with the reality show. Then Edward, if you know, he has a Super Combat brand, and he used to do a lot of events around the world. Now this is the surprising part, because the people who know me are like, what are you involved? What is that? Super Combat, for the people who don't know, is all about you know, the fighting, and how I heard about it was from the Creed 2. So that's how Edward and I connected. And this is a whole nother world for me.
With big guys, with muscles, fighting
yes,
in the ring?
Huge. Huge guys.
Martial arts.
So we started filming part of the movie in August in Mamaia. And I'll never forget, because Edward asked me a question, because I'm supposed to go up and present an award. And he asked me, how are you with blood? And I said, what do you mean blood? I was like, how much blood are we talking? And I said, why? And he says, well, in case there's blood. So I said, well, I don't know, but what happens if I fall down in front of everybody, in front of the camera? Because I usually don't do well with blood. I'm not so good. But I was pretty good. I tried not to look at the floor. And what we were doing then was, the show was actually being shot for the international market through the DigiTV. Then we were filming our film, and then of course our reality show was filming the film. You see the progress?
Yes.
La nebunie, as they say, the craziness. I mean, when I tell people, they laugh and they're like, what were you doing? So I tried, and they're like, oh, so you did this? I said, yes, we did 3 things at once. And I'm not even sure that the audience understood all of what we were doing. But when they'll see themselves one day on TV and say, just a second, isn't that what I was at that event, and we were trying to tell the people that, you know, there's a few things happening tonight. So backing up, after I had come here, then we had gone on our trip. Our first trip was Dubai. And we went to meet some of the money people there, and to, you know...
So you have some investors.
We had some investors that we wanted to talk to there. And it was really an experience, because I've never actually lived in a house with so many people. It's like
So can I ask you
like Big Brother.
Can I ask you a challenging question?
Sure.
Your Dubai investors are Arabs,
Yes.
and how come an Israeli woman?
I'm not Israeli. I'm Jewish, but
Okay,
everyone thinks it's called.
okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Israeli is nationality. Judaism is a religion. They all knew that, and I talked about it freely, and I'm very proud of it.
In theory, they're like water and oil.
No. That's a fallacy. Okay, I actually have a lot of Arab friends, and we don't even really have that issue until somebody will make it an issue. Okay, and it's a good question because you think that I would have been afraid to go to Dubai. I wasn't. I was treated so well. I was welcomed with open arms, and the people are really lovely. Now the funny thing is, because I'd been in Dubai like 20-something years ago, it's another place completely. I mentioned that last time. I didn't recognize it. It's very hot. It's too hot for me personally, but you know, I managed. I did okay. The people are lovely. The places are incredible. The place is hopping. They've rebuilt everything that I even remember. And it was never ever an issue for me. And they knew, and I mean, if they said, okay, he said my partner is this and this and this, then obviously I wouldn't have gone. I would have said, listen, I'm not going to take a chance. I have a child to come home to. So I have to be very careful. I can't afford to make a mistake. So we came back from that, and it was an experience for me to get to know some of the girls. And we had our director from LA and see how everything was working. And, you know, unusual, because I guess what you consider a private person. Even though I've always had people living in my house, but I've never had that many. And everybody is coming and going and doing, and I was like, oh, this, because I was calling Joseph going, you wouldn't believe how many people are in this house. There's always somebody somewhere coming, going at night. But it worked well. It really worked well. I did it for a week. I don't know how these other people do it for months and months, and I don't want to know. But it was okay. So then we did the second trip, was to south of France. That was also a beautiful big villa up in the hills. And that was, I met other people, because we were meeting other talents and other money people. So we were out and about. It was the film festival then. And I love south of France anyway. So I said, if I don't live there in life, I want to live there when I'm gone. It's beautiful. The weather was different to what I remembered. It was really much colder and much windier. And I speak French, which is an advantage for me, because I did all the translating all day long, which is not an advantage for me. And French people, if they see that you're making the effort to speak to them in their language, it's very different than approaching them strictly in English. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
No, because I don't speak French.
Oh, well, I want to tell you that watching the people next to me who don't speak any French, and then when I come in and they're so receptive, you know, because everyone says the French are snobs. They're not actually snobs. They feel much more comfortable when someone is speaking their language. Because you could say that about anybody and anywhere. Look at Romania. I don't speak well, but I make the effort, and I believe, or I like to believe, that most people appreciate that, you know, I'm making the effort. Of course I make mistakes because I didn't have time to learn properly. So I'm learning as I go along, and people will correct me, which I appreciate. And sometimes they'll make fun, which I don't appreciate. But on the whole, you know, you go to a country and you make the effort to speak the language, and they appreciate it. So France, for some of the others, was because they'd never been, was an eye-opener for them, you know. And we really have shot, this is all for the reality show. So much footage. I mean, I have now been editing, by the way. I'm learning how to edit too. I'm not an editor, but I'm sitting and watching everything. Guys, it's not so exciting. It's actually quite boring to sit for hours and hours and watch the same thing. I just have to tell you, because I thought it would be so much more exciting than it really is. And it's not. But it's nice to see what we did, because we have so much footage.
You review all the footage
of what we've done for months and months, actually. So after that, now the whole thing that happened with London, you know, was really a fluke, because I booked it from January. I book it every year. And I had booked myself and my goddaughter Larissa to go, and that was it. And for some silly reason, I mentioned something to somebody, and they were like, "Oh, we'd love to come." And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 oh, no, 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 no."
So each year you go to a special event in London?
Every year in June, there is 1 week, okay? You have the Ascot Racecourse, and then you have Royal Ascot, which is the 5 days that the Queen comes, every year. And I have been going for, well, decades. Let me just put it that way. A long time. So I book it from the beginning, and I know how I'm doing it. I mean, everything.
And what is the trigger for you for this event? Why going there each year for decades?
I'll tell you why. Because I started going there when I was 18. And now I have so many friends, and because I'm not in London so often, I actually meet them more. I know I'll see them once or twice a year. At an event like this where you have hundreds of thousands of people, and usually in the Royal Enclosure you have a certain number of people, I know that I'll run into my friends.
The elite of the world, I imagine, will be there.
I don't know about the elite. It's a certain kind of crowd that loves to dress up, and some of them spend months on their hats, okay? Months and months. I have to tell you, this year I did not have time. That is a hat that Christina Dragomir had made me a while back with the dress, because I was rushing to get everybody else on the plane. So what happens? How did that even happen? Okay? That's Christy Pascoe, the hairdresser, and that was our director from LA, Jonas. So they started saying, you know, let's go, let's do it. And I said, oh, Lord, I had no idea, honestly, how it was going to be such a, what was the word they taught me the other day? Haraburbura. I was like, that's it. It was an absolute bishkabibble chaos. So, like 10 days before. Now, remember that everything, tickets are bought, cars are booked, there's no hotels. It's a very busy period. It's the season in London, and people come for the different events, yeah? And that's why I plan it from January. So when they heard about this, please, Miss Dora, can we come? I said, no. I said, leave me alone. I'm going with my son and my goddaughter. I'm going to have fun. But then that's the personal side of me. The business side of me is thinking, God, I'm only ever going to do this once, and I'm going to take my crew, and they'll get to see something and see another side of life. Okay? So I agreed. I said, all right, somehow I'm going to organize this, and I don't even know how I did till today. With the tickets for the Queen Anne enclosure, with to get the cars, where to stay, what to do. So Christy was like, you want me to do what? I said, I want you to make the hair into hats. And when you see what he did, I mean, it's spectacular, okay? It's something amazing. Now, I can tell you it's amazing. When we walked in to Royal Ascot, and the people saw what was going there, I can't swear on TV, but it was unbelievable, all right? Because they'd never seen anything like this in their lives. And everybody wanted to come touch it, and everybody wanted to talk about it, and the billions of people taking pictures. And it was, I think for the girls, I mean, it was thrilling for me. And I know what to expect when I'm there. It was thrilling for the girls. And Edward said, you know, this is another side that because I tried to explain to them what it is, but until you actually go there and you see what it is, it's very hard to describe.
And you put this into your reality show?
Yes.
It's part of it?
And we managed to get permission to film, which was nothing short of a miracle. Because actually when they showed up like this, the enclosure wasn't going to let them in because it didn't look like a hat. So we had to go put feathers and little bits and, you know, make it look like a hat. And people were doing a double take, a triple take. And it was probably one of the most adventuresome days I've ever had, okay? And I think for them, because they're still talking about it. So they thanked me because this is something that most people probably won't see. And as Christy said when he was on my show, he said, everybody should see it once in their life. It's another universe. I don't know how to explain it.
And your position into the reality show is like a mentor for these talents, or how do you see your role there?
I started out, Edward and I are co-producing it.
But you're also in front of the camera. And
I'm in front of the camera. I'm helping the girls. So I've been given different titles. Lifestyle guru. I consider myself basically like the den mother because I'm telling them do it like this, don't do it like this. We have to change like this. I mean, even for the outfits, okay, the dresses, you have no idea what I went through. They were sending me pictures and pictures of dresses and I was like, oh dear God. I said, no, this ascot, there are dress rules. It has to be this thick. It has to cover this crown of the head. You cannot come in some little spaghetti straps with everything and like this. They will not let you in. It's pure and simple. I didn't make the rules. We have to respect them, okay? So I was going through the different pictures saying, yes, no, this is very nice to wear for a cocktail party. This is not appropriate for this. Because until somebody goes in and sees what everybody else is wearing, they will not, I mean, you can look at hundreds of pictures, but when you're there and, wowie, there are some hats. I mean, people have just made creations. I don't even know how some of these girls hold their heads up. And everybody's looking, everybody's taking pictures. Everybody's taking pictures of everybody else taking pictures. It's madness, but it's amazing.
Do you see anything like that in Romania?
That I've ever seen?
No. If you see it possible, can we do it?
I don't know. You have a race course around that I don't know about. Do I see that? You'd have to. It's, you know what? It's an institution there. It's been going for so long. I wouldn't even know how anyone would start to make something like that here. As far as a race course event, are there events? Listen, Romania, there are beautiful events, and that's something that I was very thrilled to find out when I first moved here. And I was invited to the palace I was awestruck because I was like, wow, people get dressed up. I lived in London and I used to go to events at the Grosvenor House or the Dorchester, and they're beautiful fancy events. These are beautiful 5-star hotels. They do beautiful events here. The wedding we went to last month in Botoșani, that when Francesca and Bogdan got married, it was spectacular. And I said to them, you know what, this could be like a Beverly Hills wedding. The level was so high, it was superb. And I can tell you, after having been to weddings there and weddings here, and weddings in London, weddings in Israel, weddings in south of France, I mean, I could tell you about a whole bunch of weddings I've been to. It was really at a...
Do you like to go to weddings?
Other people's weddings, yes, okay. I love it. I've done it a few times, I'm not so good at it. So I could see maybe someone doing something like this maybe in future, but it would be a big undertaking. And the people here do like to dress up. And they dress very nicely, I want to tell you. And they celebrate. One thing I've always said, I love being here because people celebrate. And the people are warm and they have this joie de vivre, which is lovely, you know? So, why, are you suggesting that you should take that on?
No.
No? Don't look at me, I'm busy. I'm so busy. Now, this is a picture of Florian Piersic Jr., okay, when we were shooting this in Ovidio Island. So, we went to London. I'm going to go retrace the steps, which feels like months ago, like actually a long time ago. So the girls got to see London, and we got some amazing footage there too, especially of Ascot, because it is a once-in-a-lifetime event. It's a once-a-year event. My goddaughter loved it. I hope she's watching. If Larissa is watching, I think she'll tell everybody she was in her element. It's, you know, you have this huge open space. You have the races, which are part of, you know, you run up and you run down, you put in, you have the tea, you have, champagne is flowing like, I don't even know how many thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of bottles of champagne are consumed that week, but there are a lot. If the weather's lovely, it's the most spectacular day out. So yes, I look forward to it every year because I'm going to see my friends. It's an opportunity to dress up. This was the first year I took my son. So he was in a, you know, proper suit with a tie, with the little horses. Another 2 years, I think, then he has to wear there is a dress code for men.
I was about to ask about the men, what the men are wearing.
Well, you can see from some of the pictures, in the background. In the royal enclosure, there's a dress code where they have to wear the top hat with the tails. There's the look. And they have either I think it's gray or black and gray. The men don't have as much leeway because this is their
black
thing. Black or black and gray, and there's the pinstripe, and then when the queen comes out, everyone takes off their hats, and normally they are only supposed to keep their jackets on. But I remember 2 years ago it was like 35 degrees, and it was the first time that I can remember ever in history that they they were boiling. Usually the women are freezing, and the men are comfortable because the temperature's 22, 20 something. That year, it was so hot that we were just so happy with you had your things like that, but you didn't need a jacket. And the poor men were, in the sweltering heat, they were just melting. So that's the first time ever, in so many years, 20, 30, 40 years, that I've ever seen them let them take the jackets off. And they enforce the dress code. If you try to get in, you have a badge, yeah? And the way they built it now, because they had rebuilt the race course a few years ago, if you're trying to get up their escalators in the middle, and you don't have the badge, there's no way you'll get up. And say, oh, I'll try out. Be my guest, because they are very strict about it. You have to register. You have to be, on the list. It's another level. And people outside want to, downstairs it's a different thing where you can go in a regular suit, and you have a tie, and the girls also have certain rules because they don't want everybody.
It's invitation only? I mean, you need to have an invitation to go there, or you can just ask for a place?
Okay, some, they have boxes in the royal enclosure. You have to have an invitation for that. You have people who have boxes, and they invite some people. I was invited years ago. The first time I went was actually with a casino. And they had their own box, and that's how I learned about Ascot a long time ago. Long time ago, before you were born. So the other side, you need a ticket. And the one thing we couldn't do, because it was so late, was to book a restaurant for them. I mean, I called them, and they were like, are you crazy? It's like, now it was like a week before. Because I started trying to organize everything 10 days before. And I remember calling a girlfriend of mine in London saying, I need help. And she's like, Nora, are you joking? It's like in a week. And I said, I know, but I need help. And I was like, all right, fine, we'll manage. And I actually got a friend of mine, Edward Lloyd, who's a photographer there, for a lot of the magazines. I was like, Edward, I need help, because I don't know what I'm doing here. And I'm trying to, get these girls coverage and get them exposure and show them another side of life. So that I definitely accomplished. I mean, if you ask about any of them, their face just lights up, and I think, wow, I did something. And then I took them all on the Thursday. And then Saturday I said, that's it. Joseph and Larissa and I are going. We're going to enjoy. They both loved it so much. And then we came home. So then after that, we started talking about the filming. So there was the big Super Combat event in Mamaia. So I actually have to tell everybody, I wasn't really even so involved in that, because that was Edward's thing. I know zero about boxing. But we can learn about everything, you see? Anything is possible, Alexandru. So I said, he's like, you have to come, and we're doing this, and we're doing that. I was like, oh, I don't know. I would probably say a little bit hesitant, because it's not my milieu. But because now we're involving the reality show, and then I said, okay, I'm going to come along. That was, wowie, experience of a lifetime. That was a very, very busy period, okay? We had crew members from England. We had crew members from, we had the producers from Switzerland. We had a Romanian crew. The language, it was actually, now I can look at it and it was terrific, but it was at that moment chaotic, because we were, what's happening the next day? Where are we going to go? Who's going to organize this? We had vans and buses, and you had to organize the food and get the people, who's wearing what and who's what. And for some silly, silly reason, I thought I'm going to sit in some chair somewhere, and I'm going to be watching all of this. So the only thing I will say is the next time I'm going to get an assistant and bring them with me, because we started production already. And now we're working on the second part, where I'm going to you know, we registered the company, and the movie is back-to-back. I think I can tell everybody that. And now we are doing the tax incentive business and all that.
So the name back-to-back, it take me with the thought to some action fighting
Bingo.
type of movie.
I can't tell you exactly what it is because that'll give away part of the secret. But it's you know, when you actually sit down and look at the process of how it's done, because I've been around films. I lived in LA for many years, as you know, and one of my best friends was involved in the filmmaking, and I saw a lot of the different parts. But when you look at it, that somebody, like, let's say Edward has this idea, okay? Then he gets somebody to write the screenplay. They put it on paper. Then you have to think, okay, now how are we gonna, you know, make this become, to realize this dream? So then you have to think about, you have to hire the actors, you have to get somebody to, you know, to fund it, because all this costs money. Yes?
A lot of money. Movie, it's
a lot of money. Okay?
Industry that is very expensive.
Yes, it is very expensive.
Television is nothing compared with movie.
Oh, that's good news. And then you have to find locations. Then you have to get the right people and try and build a unit together, because I've heard about this as living in LA, when some of the sets, the people don't work so well together. It's a terrible thing because it creates tension. Nobody wants to speak to each other. They just want to finish the film, all right? I really was blessed. I think we were very blessed that everybody got along, even with the you know, communication, because, you know, what about this? How do you say this? What do you say this? There are 3 different languages, and some don't speak this, and some don't speak that, and some don't speak basically, you know, one, and that's it.
So
but
you were
I was a translator.
You were actress in the movie?
2 minutes.
Okay.
I'm playing the mayor who gives out the prize on the thing. I wasn't really, you know, I said this is what I'm doing. I'm actually here because I want to see, you know, we're producing it, and our partners came in, they were doing it.
So you actually, you are like that kind of directors that are very, very famous, but they appear a little bit in the movie because they can resist to do something in the movie.
Yes, I suppose maybe I'll do that for every film. That's a very good idea, actually. Maybe I will do that. No, because I wanted to be in the middle of everything. Okay.
You know, like Tarantino does that.
Yeah, he does that, and there's a couple of others who've done that in the past too.
He has very minor roles, but he's there. He wants to be in the movie a little bit.
I think when we'll actually see it, I think if you blink, you'll miss me. But I don't know. We'll see. It was very exciting to be in the milieu. I'd never been, as I said, to an event like this, and it is an event. They come out, these guys with the, you know, even if you're not, I mean, my son and I brought down my manager, and they were just sitting like this. And I was just like, wow, it's loud, it's a lot of, it's very imposing, and that's why I said, wow, look at this.
So you are finalized the shootings, and now you are in the production of the movie?
Yeah, we started already. We started shooting. I don't have any of the footage on there, but I have some of the stills, I think, on in the background. So the super combat, as I mentioned, so we filmed that, then we filmed some other scenes, and then we needed to take a break. Now we're busy doing paperwork, because there is always paperwork also involved in this stuff.
No, not only the creative and
no,
fancy
I'd
stuff.
like to say it's all the creative part, but there's a lot of other stuff that has to get done that people don't realize. And people, it's boring, and it's a headache, and I've done so much shouting in the past few weeks that I usually don't do. But you want to move it along because we have a time period. We need to shoot it before it gets cold. We need to go back and reshoot some scenes, you know. You have to look at this. Is not done in the studio. This is done out.
If you reshoot, you have to look like previous time.
Continuity. And that's, we can't, you know, shoot in summer.
You can't shoot something in the summer and then in the winter.
And all of a sudden there's snow. You can't do that. It doesn't work like that. You know, when you have the luxury of a soundstage, you can recreate so many things. when you're dealing, like we were filming out in nature, okay, and you have it all there, I wouldn't even know how we would even begin to recreate that whole thing. So we have a time frame that we have to, you know, we're trying to work within. So all of that's been going on. Now, I know you're going to ask me at some point about the book. I'm figuring you're going to ask me something about the book.
Yes.
It's on hold.
Yes, about the book.
Yes, well, okay. So somebody said to me the other day, when am I going to read it? I said, when I'm going to finish writing it is when you're going to read it. They're like, I said, I don't know how much time you think I have every day, but it's just not going to happen right now. Because I'm in the middle of we're finishing the reality show. It's about ready to go out. And I think we have someone who's interested in picking up, which would be terrific for us. Then we are, you know, in
Romania or abroad?
No, this will be shown also abroad. It's an international project. It's all done in English. So there will be subtitles and things, but no, it's for an international audience. And we have also the girls who are doing it also realize that, and the people who are watching it will realize that, and also because we want to get a global audience to get involved in it. This is a very unique idea that he had, and we're going to make it very, very international.
So what I take from here is that meeting a person, it can completely change one's life, because I see that after meeting Mr. Eremia, you start doing a lot of projects together in different type of fields, words.
Okay, so you know that how we met was, I told you I don't believe in coincidence, it was fate. I was in LA, I said to Bonnie, I'm going to call this lady. His wife sent me a message 1 or 2 days later, meet my husband. I said, okay, all of this was about to happen, in my view. And then he took me into his world, which was the combat world. I took him into my world. It actually complemented each other very well. He does call me his angel, which is very nice, because, you know, everybody has their own types of energy. And some energies, the synergy works well, and sometimes it doesn't. But we, even though we're such different people, and he actually speaks faster than I do.
Yes, I wanted
and you
to
know
say that. Yes, yes. He is the only one I met that speaks faster than you, and I appreciate a lot that you are doing efforts now in the show to speak slowly.
I know, I learned. Speak slowly and clearly. I've been told by everybody. And today we had a meeting. I didn't understand half of it. It was not in English, obviously. It was in Romanian, but he speaks Romanian very quickly. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be work. So I said, I'll tell you what, call me later and tell me what you said. But he's the only person I've met that actually speaks English faster than I do. And we work at the same level, because you know what? My girlfriend Marcie said to me, she said, I told her I get so frustrated. She goes, that's because you're in the 5th speed, and the other people in the 3rd speed, and you have to wait for them to catch up. I said, yeah, but I don't have patience. And she said, that's the problem. So because I have somebody that I can work with like that, it has changed all the focus. He has found someone that, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe we'll do it like this, and he'll go, but we'll do it like this, and then we sit, we brainstorm, and it has changed his whole focus with his thing, and it changed my focus, because I was actually writing the book, and I was then going to do my show.
Which is kind of autobiography?
It's about these are all these stories are going into, because these are the adventures. Because if I tell people, sometimes they're like, no, you couldn't make this up. Some of the stuff is like, oh my gosh, but yes, we lived through it, and it's another life, and maybe somebody will, it's going to make you laugh. You've read, oh yes, excuse me, just a minute. You read a little bit of what I wrote.
A little bit, yes.
And tell me, did it make you laugh?
Yes. Actually, it brought me a lot of wisdom. If you take the essence of it,
yeah.
you take some life lessons about relationships, about how to relate with people you love or you hate or whatever. In business, how to do business, how to choose people, if you can rely on people or not, things like that, practical things.
Do you know, I almost called it...
But you have a sense of self-irony that is fantastic.
Well, thank you. I actually wanted to call it Life Lessons, except that Kevin Hart wrote a book and there was Life Lessons. I thought, oh, well, okay. They're stories. I call them little vignettes, okay? And I'm glad that, because it's supposed, somebody said, what does your book do? I said, it's going to make you laugh, it's going to make you cry. It should make you think. And maybe sometimes, why I like to read other people is because I get a different point of view that maybe it's something I wouldn't have looked at how, I have a different way of looking at it and they've given me a different perspective. That's why people read. Knowledge, just to learn other opinions, other points of views. I was luckily not brought up with only a view like this. My view is very wide. And if I can share, and I got a very sweet message the other day on my phone from this lady that's watching my show called Alina, and I said, she was like, I watch and I'm listening and I'm learning, and I'm like, wow, because I also went to synagogue the other night and people come to say hello, and they were talking about my show I did with Taya about the Kabbalah. It's very thrilling that people are watching and they're reacting to it, and for me I was like, that's great, because I do this all the time and it kind of feels like normal for me, and if I'm telling the girls you have to do it like this or you have to, for them this is like, okay, we have to listen. I mean, yesterday we were in the studio, okay? And they were doing the voiceovers and we were talking about some of the experiences. I have to say, I almost cried because they said such lovely things. I was so touched, because I'm busy and I'm involved. I didn't actually I took a step back yesterday to see how they look at it. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I was like, I was actually really touched. I thought, it's so sweet that they talk so nicely. And that the little bit that I think, it made an impact in their lives. So you're talking about when you meet somebody, I think if I asked one of the girls, the girls would say, if I met Miss Nora, I learned this, or, all of us touching each other's lives, my meeting you, and are things happening, and my wanting to, be having a show and get involved. All of this here, each person adds to another layer to your life. You understand what I mean?
Yes.
Do you believe in that?
Yes. And if you will make a second step back from these 8 months, what touched you the most?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't know. I have to think about it. The truth is, I really, I don't want to say, I'm not on autopilot, but I've been so busy that I haven't had time to really, I'm doing things and I'm getting things done. But if you tell me now, did you sit and write? I haven't written one page because I haven't had time to sit and concentrate, okay? And it is, when you're writing, I personally need quiet, I need silence. I can't have, Gare du Nord like my office is, people in and out, in and out. I can't even think what I have to do in the next 20 minutes, never mind, and sit down and write part of a book. As I said yesterday, when I took a step back and I looked at it and I thought, wow, I haven't gone that deep to be able to say, there's probably a lot of little things. I mean, when I look at the pictures and I appreciate, and I'm actually very happy and I'm very thankful, even though I resisted it at the beginning, when I looked at how happy they were and how they really were, oh my God, the girls understood what had happened, because as I said, I've done it, I'm used to it, I'm running around, I'm getting it organized, and when I just sat down, I remember I was having a glass of champagne, and I was watching them react to everything. It gave me such a feeling of fulfillment. And I felt very proud that I thought, gosh, I don't know how we did it. Managed to throw it all together but first it's professional. It does not look, they were all, tip-top.
And we have very beautiful women.
Well, you have the most beautiful women in Romania, and they look great, and they're all very charming. And it makes it easy to take them anywhere because it's not like I have to do so much work. And I said to them, you represent Romania. When you come, you have to be, dressed pucka, as we say. And I mean, look at Francesca. She's my singer. She's terrific, and we're not taking her to another level. I'm dying to talk about that, and I can't tell you what I did all afternoon, because fingers crossed, we will have some big news on that too. But, you know, it's a dream for them. And then they meet people like Edward and I, and then, you know, because sometimes I think, I can do this, I can do this. Oh, no, you can't. You know that. We had that conversation with the Oscars and all the rest. And, oh, you can't. I've never thought like that. I've always said, why can't you? My next question would be, why can't you? You want to do this with the studio? Why not? We want to take it there. We want to put it, you know, worldwide on CNN. Why not? Who's to stop? Who makes the rules? And when the girls, they feel that you give them confidence, you bring out their confidence in themselves. They're like, you know, if I'm older, she's done this, well, you give them a path, you give them a direction, you give them motivation, and you can see the way they start to behave and the way they carry themselves. If I've done nothing else, I'm very proud of that as an accomplishment. To see it, and then when I told you yesterday, it was just maybe the combination of everything, because now we're almost finished. We're 90%, 95% finished. I sit down and I think, wow, you know, it really, because everything is an idea, and then you work on it, and then when you come to fruition, it's very exciting, Alexandru. I'm sure you had that when you put the studio together and you created all of this, you know? So that's, I suppose, my joy.
I'm curious about the book. How did you manage to have all that details, like names, dates, things like that, very precise, and a lot of them? Do you keep a diary, or how do you do it?
No, it's all up here. This is the problem. The computer's tired. That's why I was trying to write it all out, because I said, you know, it's like a computer and the information. And I got like a third of it out, but there's still so much more. And now, of course, after the last 8 months, there's even more. There's going to be another volume, I think, because so much has happened in such a short time that somebody said to me, you know, people take years to do this. Well, it just so for whatever reason happened, you know, like that. And that's okay. And that's, thank God I have energy. Every day I pray for energy. Actually, I pray for power and patience, because they try it a lot.
Do you believe in power a lot?
Yes, absolutely. We generate it, people give it to you. People can take it from you and people can give it to you. The people who try to come next to me and try to take it from me, I prefer to stay a little bit distant, because I feel that they're going to be taking the power. And then when I feel other people, and that's what I was telling you about, the synergy. Like, you know, you and I have that synergy and we work well together. Edward and I have that synergy and we can create things. Listen, what we did is, I remember one of the guys talking in LA, I watched the editing the other day, and he said that, I didn't do in 20 years what you did in a few weeks. So we've actually managed to make a lot of things happen for a lot of people. I'm very happy, but God knows what will happen when they'll start to see the success is going to go up. I said, Edward, we're going to be besieged by every, you know, young kid who has a dream, who wants to do it.
After that will be launched and they will see
oh
the
my
impact
goodness
of it?
me. I have no idea what to expect. I have no idea what's going to happen. So we have to be prepared. So that's where we are. That's what I've been doing since I last saw you.
Thank you very much, and look forward to see you back in this seat next week with another episode in your show, and look forward to see the reality show and the movie.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms.
Seroussi,
and thank you very much to all of you watching this show, and you will be meeting next week with Ms. Seroussi herself in the guest, not as a guest, but as a host of this show. Thank you very much for watching.